So let's get off of wrestling's nuts and then let's get on to something else. Let's talk MMA. How about that?
Yes.
There's
a lot of things going on for the MMA this weekend, man.
Yeah, you got UFC 104.
Yeah, and you got Dream 12 right after UFC.
Really?
Yep, they're going to be on HD Nets. I think it's an hour or two after that. They're going to be promoting their pay-per-view live. You also have, on Monday, you have Tough Enough 11 tryouts. So that's going to be happening at the Renaissance in Los Angeles Airport Hotel.
I understand you went to go to the signing of the Belfort at a local Target near us.
It was a crazy line.
How bad was it?
Well, it was half of the store, dude. From all the way, I can't even describe it. You have to be in that store to see it, but it was half of that store, man. It was huge. Mostly women. And it was heavily secured with security guards outside the building, inside the building, walking around. They weren't playing around.
Now, I had another buddy of mine that actually went and stand in that line. He said there was at least a couple of hundred people in front of him. And he made it in about 45 minutes, he said.
Yeah, that's what I heard after I left, that the lines are moving fast. Even though it was long, they were moving really fast. So I guess they didn't give people enough time to talk to their favorite, or anything. It was just kind of like, hello, bye, go.
Now, you were telling me that there was a percentage about the Machida fight and the Rua fight?
Yeah, there was an 87% of the fans saying that Machida will win this fight Saturday. And I tweeted that, would you still watch the pay-per-view? Or if you know that the odds are that, if the fight's of a mismatch, will you still watch it? So, I mean, I say yeah, just because you never know what you're going to get when you have Rua. Rua, he shows up as a different fighter every time. One day he'll be the crappiest fighter. The next day he'll be the best fighter in the world. I mean, you never know what you're going to get. And it takes a certain fighter to bring that out in him. So I think we're going to have a good fight this Saturday.
Now, I'm hearing rumors that over there at the signing today, they asked Belfort, what do you think about knocking out Anderson Silva?
Well, there was a conversation between one of the fans and Belfort. It was just a real quick question. I mean, not even a question. The fan just told Belfort, "Hey, man, I hope you kick Silva's ass or knock out Silva." And then Belfort laughed and said, "That's easy."
Oh man, it's gonna get good. If only Anderson Silva stops ducking.
He is ducking Belfort. He knows Belfort will knock him out.
Well, let's talk about that real quick.
I've been saying that forever, man. Belfort needs to come back and put a hurting on the UFC, and he's back, man. I love it. And I think he's the only guy right now who can take Silva to the limit, man.
Now, you were mentioning that we got a little bit of heat on that from Twitter from one individual. I can't remember his name, but we mentioned that Anderson Silva is looking like he's ducking Belfort.
He is ducking, man.
And I guess
even Dana White, when you look at the blogs, when you watch the blogs of Dana White, even he looked upset when he was talking about Anderson Silva getting his surgery. He kind of sounded like as if there was no need for that. He was just like, yeah, he had a surgery. Like, it was real quick. Like, he didn't get into, when you have a fighter that's like one of your top fighters in your organization, if it's WWE, whatever, and they bring up a surgery or something medical, they always get into it. They try to excuse it for the fighter and help the fighter out. And Dana White he was really short about it. It just sounded like Silva just shouldn't have took that surgery this time.
Now, okay, that's what I wanted to talk about. I guess rumors were going around town that Anderson Silva was complaining to Dana about why Belfort gets an opportunity with just one fight.
Well, wouldn't you complain when you have the Phenom coming your way?
Well, yeah. And I think,
dude, one of the best strikers. Look at who Anderson Silva fought. He hasn't really fought a good striker yet.
And then you mentioned that he was going to go get a surgery on an old injury.
Right. That's what talks are. That injury is an old injury. That he's fought a couple fights with that already. He had no complaints. But now, when a good fighter comes his way, now he has a complaint. Now he has to go do a surgery.
So, in your opinion,
and they already had the fight somewhat booked already. They already mentioned it on certain websites. And even UFC was already doing talks about it. They weren't really sure what UFC was going to be, but that it was already signed and for Silva to go out and do that, it's really putting a damper on the UFC, and it's gonna hurt that fight.
Now, let's just say, for example, Belfort loses to Anderson Silva. Should Anderson Silva retire?
No. I think there's still people out there that he can fight. There's still talks about Randy Couture wanting to fight Silva at a 205 weight.
Right.
I mean, that would be a big one, but he's got to pass Brandon Vera first. But I mean, there's still some fighters out there who can come out and contend for Silva. It's just I don't know if UFC is doing the right thing and which ones they're picking. I mean,
well, I think they're very careful on their top
stars. They're
very
very careful. I mean, Silva wants the best fighters in the world. Bring him the best fighters in the world. I mean, give him whoever takes, man. He even said he wanted 2 on one night. He says he can do it. Let's do it. If he's that big of a fighter, let's do it. Wow. Give the people what they want.
Wow.
We want to see Silva get knocked out.
Well,
that's why he gets booed, man.
We definitely want to see Silva be challenged.
Right.
Because
I want to see him get knocked out. I'm not a fan of his.
Well, you know, I think I kind of am, right? Only because he's pretty badass. And
he's good. He's really good.
I've never ever seen anybody really give him a challenge. And I think Belfort is going to whoop his ass. And I can't wait to see it because I want to be there to see who's going to actually take his crown.
Right. I think it's Belfort.